Peace, people. How y'all doing? As for me, always strong. Always doing what I'm supposed to be doing. This morning, I want to talk to y'all about being able to stabilize your relationship, being able to balance your relationship, being able to deal with the things that create blockage in your connection, in your relationship or relationships, right? So I had some clients the other day I was talking to. We were talking about relationships, and they were telling me about the situation they're going through, with the sister, sister one of the brothers was dealing with. And I was telling him, I said, in a natural environment, right, in a healthy, thriving, natural environment, right, the person that you end up with should be a person that you grew up with. You grew up with this person, you know this person. There's a lot of trust have been built, experiences, you know the person's character, you know the person's family, there's mutual respect. All of those things create stability in how the relationship grows, right? But most people end up in all of these different type of relationships, go through things that are unresolved, have a lot of extra baggage, a lot of emotional stuff that's connected to other people that leak off into the relationship that they're trying to build, right? This not only deals with, a romantic relationship, but it also can deal with dealing with friendship, also dealing with, workspace environment, all kinds of things, right? How we interact with other people, right? And what we go through with other people, if we don't go through our due process and heal from those things, we transfer them things over, right? So that means that, you could be doing everything that you're doing right, and you do something that triggers your partner. Now, your partner, is treating you from an emotion that was 5 to 10 years before you, But the one thing about emotions, they have no sense of time, so that your partner doesn't know that or doesn't recognize in that instance, that this ain't even got nothing to do with him, or this ain't got nothing to do with her, but I know I feel this right now, so this is how I feel, right? And what happens is that, you have these expectations, or you have these fears or these doubts that come from previous relationships that you have brought into these new relationships that you haven't healed from or grew from, right? We have to do some healing, right? I get into a relationship, spend time with this person, and blah, 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 things don't go right. I take about a year to be able to get myself together. And the reason why I take a year is because I need to make sure that I'm not transferring stuff over into a new relationship. I'm making sure that I'm stable and I'm good, right? Even people that go to war, right? When they come back from war, right? They get a psych evaluation, they check them out, they make sure they're good, You're supposed to do those things. They debrief them. A lot of times when we come out of these relationships be like war, like a war field. We go over there, and we dealing with this person, and it don't go right. They hurt you, they lie, manipulate. Things go left and right. They say things that hurt you, you say things that hurt them. And then you come back from that, and you don't do anything to heal, anything to grow, anything to, to elevate yourself. You don't learn from that experience so you can grow. So when you go into this new relationship, that you can make better decisions so you can be better, right? This is because we live in an emotionally unstable society, right? So when we're talking about health, right? People that have been through things, that have taken the time to work on themselves, have gained wisdom and insight from their experiences, so they don't transfer those things over to the next relationship. Me, I never put on someone else what someone else has done. Now, what I've learned from those experiences may give me wisdom to recognize certain things and to be cautious about, right? But I'm never going to project on somebody issues I have with someone else that doesn't belong with that person, right? Sometimes we jump into these relationships premature, knowing that we're not ready to be in a relationship. But we fear connecting, we fear being disconnected, or we fear being alone. But you're never alone because you always have yourself. The primary relationship that you should be working on and focusing on is your relationship with yourself. By working on that, what do you do? You stabilize yourself. When you work on a relationship with yourself, I mean, that means you're able to build, a clear understanding of who you are to yourself. You're able to listen to yourself. You're able to trust yourself. You're able to follow the directions, that is given to yourself, right? The one thing about the human being is this, right? You have an internal communication system, right? Your internal communication system is always reaching out to you to communicate with you, to wake you up to yourself, right? It's to awaken you to yourself. Your fear is an indicator. Anxiety is an indicator. Stress is an indicator. Pain is an indicator. You feel what I'm saying? These things are indicators, They're indicators about something that is going on in your life that you need to focus on because these things are urgent, right? They're not there to diminish you. They're there to allow you to recognize something that needs to be tended to, that needs to be faced or overcome in order for you to grow and move forward, right? But because we lack the emotional intelligence that we need, we aren't mature enough to have the conversation. Not even with ourselves. I'm not even talking with other people. I'm talking about we're not even emotionally stable enough to have the conversation with ourselves. So we fight against ourselves. When we are communicating with ourselves and we're telling ourselves like, look, I'm feeling this, we brush it off, we push it down, we muscle through it, we use anger to reject it, we use aggression to reject it, we use justifications to push on, right? Instead of listening to ourselves. And every time that you don't listen to yourself, what happens is that the situation happens, you recognize that you told yourself not to do it, you did it anyway. Now you don't like yourself because you are reminded, that you don't listen to yourself. When you don't listen to yourself, and it come to be true, you get upset with yourself. So you take it out on yourself. We get that effort mentality, the nonchalant, I don't care, pretend this, pretend that. We medicate, we jump from one relationship to another. When we feel hurt, instead of us saying like, why am I hurting? Let me work on this and deal with this, right? Instead, you jump and try to feel good by getting with someone else or doing something to try to medicate your situation. When the reality is that the feeling you're feeling is real at the moment and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be dealt with, even if it is you having space and time for you to heal, right? That feeling is letting you know that. But because we're so disconnected with ourselves, we don't listen. We don't listen to our own internal communication system. You feel what I'm saying? It's that higher consciousness, right? You are always trying to awaken you to you. Your struggles reveal you to you. Your situations, your experiences, right, are designed to awaken you to you. Every time that you go through something, there's a lesson to learn, to gain insight and wisdom to be a greater you. All of that is right there for you. All of that is at your disposal, right? But you won't listen to you. Because you lack the humility, you lack the discipline to take accountability for where you're at, right? Just because you are hurting, it doesn't make you weak. It means, that something is going on that you need to attend to, right? But we have these outlooks in life that are destructive to self-development, destructive towards, having a healthy sense of self. So we run from ourselves because we think that this is what it is to be a man or this is what it is to be a woman, when it's not. It's childish. Children run from their emotions. They hide from them. They play them off like it ain't really what it is or whatever, right? Adults recognize that this is something real and I need to deal with it. And if I don't deal with it, it's only going to get worse. It's the same advice that we give other people that we don't take, because when we're in the hot seat, right, we can't take that. It doesn't diminish you to realize that you're not good. Because the only way to get good is to recognize the things that are taking you away from being good. I need to work on this. I need to focus on this. I need to develop this. I need to build this. I need to step away from this person. I need to step away from these things, right? But then there's things in your life that you need to step towards that you're not doing. And we have this mentality where we say, well, I need to take a step back to get myself together. And I'm like, hold. So the thing that gives you power, right? You know, you'll step back from your belief system. You'll step back from studying. You'll step back from exercising and eating healthy. You'll step back from all of these things. You'll step back, from your true friends, the people that really got your best interest. You'll step back from them because you don't want them to be around what they can help, because you're more concerned about how they're going to look at you instead of getting the help that you need in order for you to grow. And that pride and that ego has never been our best friend. It gets in the way of us developing, growing, building, and becoming, right? So I came on here to talk about, being able to build these healthy relationships. And the reason why we don't have healthy relationships is because we primarily don't have a healthy relationship with ourselves. We are the source. We are the source to everything in our existence, right? What I mean by in our existence, in our universe, right? When you are good, things are good, right? When you're not good, that's when you allow your world to go left and go right. Me as a man, right? I've always been the type to look at my life, right? Well, since I've been on this path, right? Look at my life and say, what am I not doing that I need to do? I don't look at nobody else. I look at me. Because I know that the only thing I can control and the only thing that I can manage and the only thing that I can change is self, is me. People are going to be people. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm good, nephew. So as long as you stay connected and rooted in yourself and what is best for you, as long as you keep the line of communication with you and you open, you'll pay attention to those things, right? You feel what I'm saying? You'll pay attention to them, But what we do is we ignore it, or we try to find a way to be distracted from it because we don't want to deal with it, or we feel we don't have the time to deal with it. Like, I don't have time to deal with this. But it's real, right? But when you elevate your level of emotional intelligence, you tap into something where you have a certain level of maturity, right? Where you can deal with it, right? See, emotional intelligence, you got to have emotional awareness. That means that I'm aware when I'm not okay. I'm aware when I'm stressed. I'm aware when I'm faced with anxiety. I'm aware when I have doubt. And I'm aware of these things. But also the next step is I investigate why. I take the time to investigate why so I can find a resolution to what I'm going through, because I am communicating with myself that something needs to be addressed or something needs to be dealt with. And until I deal with it and I address it, it's not going to change. No matter how much I medicate the situation, no matter how much I try to go shopping or take trips or whatever, right? When I come back, I am going to be faced with it, because the one thing that I can never outrun is myself. I can never outrun myself. So it's always going to come back to you. It's always going to come back to self. What do I need to do to be a better me? And I'm looking out there into the world, right? Social media, is like a lens to the world, right? You see, and I see us hurting each other because we are not emotionally stable. You got men and women that are stepping out there, cheating, doing a bunch of crazy stuff, right? Because they aren't emotionally mature enough to be able to have the conversations that they need to have. I see men and women that are being wronged, attacking the person that is wronging them because they don't know how to emotionally be able to just deal with it and walk away from the situation. So you make your life and your situation worse. right? Because what you feel, you want them to feel. The hurt that you feel, you want them to feel, right? But at the expense of hurting yourself more. That's what I see, because we are struggling to face ourselves, right? And the reality is that the reason why you do it is because in your mind, you told yourself, I should have been left this person alone. I should have been walked away from this relationship. I should have been stopped, allowing them to take advantage of me and do this, right? But you allowed it to happen, right? And because you allowed it to happen, right, the value of yourself plummets. So now you don't even care about putting yourself in harm's way or putting yourself at risk, because all you feel is hurt, and I want them to feel what I feel, right? But when you wake up from that episode, you're going to have regret, because it's like, my situation is worse and it wasn't even worth it. And it wasn't even worth it. So I just want to come on here and drop some things so we can look at what needs to be addressed. And only you know what needs to be addressed, because it's your life, right? I'm a life coach, right? And my job is to always put the ball back into my clients' hands so that they can take ownership of the direction that they need to go in so they can be successful, right? We got to face ourselves in order for us to grow. Until we do that, we're going to constantly find ourselves unhappy. And we're going to constantly find ourselves, finding ways to escape or medicate whatever vice or whatever that you have, your situation. A situation that is always going to be a situation until you overcome that situation. Your situations don't take vacations. They don't. Your issues don't say, man, I'm going to give you a break. They don't. Your issues will constantly echo until they are dealt with. It will constantly ring out until it is dealt with, whatever that issue is, right? You can run as much as you can, right? But running only puts you in a position to waste the valuable time that you can't get back, that you should have used towards overcoming that so you can move to the next chapter in your life. You can't move to the next chapter in your life until you overcome these issues, that keep on parading your life, that keep on marching through your life. They are there because they are indicators to let you know that these are some things that need to be addressed and need to be dealt with. And until you deal with it, right, parts of your life is going to be on hold. Parts of your life is going to be on standby. Parts of your life is going to be in limbo. That's what's going to be going on. It's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to recognize that the only thing that has been in your way, that's been holding you back, is you. It is you. Until you recognize that, you will continue to give power over the people and things, right, that will rampage and wreck your life. People that are not even around in your life that you still blame for things, right, that are still doing damage to your life because you haven't taken your power back and realized that I got the power to overcome this and end this right now. I just got to face these things and find the steps to be able to overcome what I'm going through and what I'm struggling with. That's the reality. That's the truth. I got clients that have been dealing with stuff for 40 years and people have been out their life and they're still allowing it to affect them because they have not took back control of themselves. So whenever they feel what they feel, they run to their vice. Whenever they feel what they feel, they fight against whatever reminds them of it, right? But they don't accept the fact that they're going through something that's real and they need to deal with it in order to overcome it. They don't accept that truth. Because to accept that means that you have to go through it. You can't go around it or over it, right? And you can't escape it. You got to go through it and go through the steps that are needed to be taken in order for you to be able to resolve, heal, and grow forward. That's the process. Continue to keep doing the work you're doing, people. Continue to keep on seeking higher learning. Continue to keep seeking greater results. Your life is worth it. You're valuable. You're important. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're all of these things. But you're only those things when you believe it and when you live in it. You cannot be these things if everything you do goes against it. With that, I'm gonna leave you as I always come with great love and respect, and only ask for it in return. Stay up, continue to keep growing. And if any of y'all are looking for a life coach, just hit me up. I'm here. Peace.